All right, thank you, John. Okay, hello everyone. To our April Economic Development Committee. We have some weeks already, so that's nice that I give. Thank you, Amy. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order 6:05 p.m. I think 5 minutes is the latest past the hour. We've gotten started, so.
Well, we had treats that needed to be passed out. No, we appreciate it.
We can start 5 minutes after the hour every time. Don't worry on that front. We'll go ahead and stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll get into roll call
Thank you very much. Chair Lawson,
here.
Lisa Butler,
Here.
Mike Acciardi,
Here.
Amy Gibson Grote,
Here.
David Amanor, sorry. Vice Chair Barron is under the weather tonight, and I will kind of keep an eye open for Jacqueline. Sometimes she gets her a few. Oh, and your ex officio, Counselor Ricky Smith.
Here.
Didn't mean to forget you.
Thank you for being here, Councilor Smith. Well, was there any public comment submitted ahead of time?
No public comment submitted at all, and no one in the building.
Okay. On the line, Ms. Miller, any public comments?
No.
Great, thank you. We'll go ahead and jump right in then. Last session, our March Economic Development Committee session, or commission, excuse me. We got through quite a few topics. So we reviewed the EDC bylaws, which we finalized with the help of Mr. Reed, and those changes were approved to propose to City Council. And Bill let us know those changes, and the overall EDC bylaws was unanimously approved. Unanimously approved. With a couple kind of notes, or I guess watch items, you could say. One of which I just wanted to clarify, Bill, that you had mentioned the note, I think it was Councilor Sheldon had on the 2-term limit for a chair. I believe, so he was just referencing the fact that we might look at expanding that to enable the person who's in the chair role to, I guess, have a better maturity throughout the role, I guess.
Chair Lawson, basically, yes. So the Councilor Sheldon just expressed his view that he appreciated and supported your decision in your bylaws to limit the chair to 2 consecutive terms, but he wanted to express that he thought that it's also okay for there to be more consecutive terms than just 2, because sometimes it takes more than 2 consecutive terms for an individual to really step into the role, especially if it's only a year-long term,
Right. Okay.
sort of thing. So that was it.
Okay. We can kind of revisit that after we go through the minutes, but thanks for clarifying. Next, we talked about our work plan and our roadmap. Looking at the next 6 months is really what we were focusing on. We decided to break out into subcommittees, and those were formed kind of with an emphasis on community engagement and some of the work around the downtown focus revitalization effort. So we have Lisa, Chris, and David were on the downtown business revitalization effort subcommittee, and then we had Jacqueline, Mike, and Amy on more of the Glencoe opportunity area marketing effort so to say. And then myself, I'll just be representing the EDC through the next phase of the UDD effort. And we'll get into a lot of that this evening in terms of the SMART goals that we were looking to establish here. So I'm sure we'll spend quite a bit of time on that. We also, in our agenda packet, had the land use applications as well as the monthly update from the community development. And then we also discussed some potential topics for the next meeting, kind of the ongoing effort that we want to discuss and lay out what we're going to tackle over the next few sessions, so that it's not kind of a moving target each month for us to focus on certain things. Any questions or additions? Go back on last month's meeting minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor of approving the March session of the Economic Development Commission meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
On all those opposed? Unanimous approval of the March session meeting minutes. So we can get right into unfinished business now. We'll continue our work plan discussion. Mentioned we're focusing on some of the SMART goals as subcommittees for us as a group, what we can focus on. Quick reminder on the SMART acronym of our goals. We're looking for specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, and relevant. So I'm sorry, and time bound is the wrong one. We're looking for items that we can focus on, things that are within our reach and scope, and we won't be working on for the next 24 months. So, I think we can probably dive right into the two groups. Mike handed out a nice handout here of the subcommittee that focused on the Glencoe opportunity area, I believe. Yeah. So we can just jump right in at that. I believe Bill, you also shared this electronically before the meeting as well. So we have that reference too.
Yes.
Okay, good. I know Jacqueline is not here or on the line, but Mike, you and Amy, if you guys want to kind of walk us through some of these goals and how you came to those and kind of what the thought process is going forward.
Yeah, I feel a little bad because Jacqueline and Amy were the main people on this thing. Jacqueline kind of put together this whole section that I put out on Word. So I'm just going to read what she's got. Basically, we have the three goals of primarily number one, educate EDC members on past data. So we kind of know what we're looking at, what we need to grab a hold of. If we don't know what we don't know, then we can't move forward. So this is sort of getting a handle on what we need to approach. And the second one is just looking at all the marketing materials that we've got, anything that's been done in the past, so that we can either repeat that, improve upon it, or get something new. And then in general, number three is just enhance our online presence. I'm not sure where we're at as far as Facebook, Instagram, all those things, but I guess the third one would be just reviewing that and seeing what strengths we've got and what areas we need to improve upon.
Perfect. And I'm assuming a lot of these too would be good to partner with the city's communication consultant specialist. Current,
Yes.
yeah, Corinne. especially like some of the goal number 3, the online presence. I know that's been an effort, like with the online or the website. Being released recently, kind of the new look of the website and the new Instagram account for the city, I know was a big thing too, so. I'm sure setting up time with her will be good too, so.
I also think the third goal is probably the one we want to see results with, easiest. I mean, she's saying here, just increase traffic by 30%. The second one, that's close, produce materials for at least 100 potential investors or entrepreneurs. So at least those two specifically have measurables that we can look at and go, hey, look, the website from the social is up. It looks like we're doing what we want to do.
Amy, did you have anything you wanted to add, or especially kind of through your lens of a business owner in that area, please, like how some of these goals will, help you as a small business owner too?
My biggest thing when I was thinking of this is being able to get.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
No. You're so quiet. It should be on. Yep. Thank you.
My biggest thing, for being so new to this, I'm kind of trying to figure out I'm kind of more sitting back and listening, but my thing with contributing my thoughts were, I know a lot of the business owners here in town, so being able to talk with them to give them input or to get their input on some of this stuff, I think will be really handy as far as, things that they're looking for to, or could potentially help draw in other businesses, things that will complement each other and things just like that. So, getting involved with them and having access to creative friendships and get some really good information, I think, to help us with, I know this is the planning commission, but, what their needs might be or their input on it.
Yeah.
So, that's all.
Lisa or David, do you guys have any questions or follow-up?
Oh, and just to ask, so this is marketing major category for all of North Point, is that right?
It was mostly, I think, centered around the Glencoe opportunity.
Yeah.
Area.
Okay, so specifically marketing for Glencoe. Okay,
I'm sure a lot of the findings and goals can be
Yeah.
applicable to any area.
the other businesses.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very impressed by your measurable goals here and how specific they are. I'm very impressed.
Yes. Yeah, it looks like most of this is just starting on seeing what we've got, and that's, I guess we'll tap the right people to let us know, what do we have for marketing materials, what do we have for, data.
Oh, and by the way, I did send David some of the materials that I was able to find, so whoever our repository is going to be, I at least found a few of our older materials.
Yeah, Bill and I need to work on that. I think Kelly's thoroughly enthralled, but we need to find a place that they have access to all the documents and stuff. We could probably still use the no, it wasn't a city one.
I think we ended it though.
Well, I shared them individually with David.
Okay,
Well,
I
yeah,
told you that same thing, but
we'll, yeah, we used to have kind of a all-purpose gigantic Google Drive, but with the IT company, we'll see, we have the IT layer too now. Let us look into that because we have a whole new cybersecurity IT system, and there's a way. We just need to get them to set it up for us so that, phishing, nobody gets phishing problems and all that stuff,
I have one question, as far as number 3 on social media, are we currently doing Instagram, I guess X you call it now, Facebook,
Great question. We are doing Facebook. And we now have we now have a fledgling Instagram presence that I would love to see do things. Right now, it's sort of kind of a Facebook Junior type update resource. So what you see on Facebook or in the newsletter, you'll see a smaller version of it on Instagram. And I would love to see that flourish in a different way. That's more, photos of our murals and a shot of some of the food you can get over at the food cart pod, that. Take advantage of the medium. We're not there yet. I think we just haven't had that conversation. And we have a LinkedIn account, and I desperately need to remember to update it about the semiconductor zone. I was actually working on it last night, and then I had to shut it down or stop. And I need to go back to doing it. So there is a LinkedIn, and I'm trying to think anything else at the moment. No, we don't. That's certainly something to explore. The other thing we do have that we haven't really utilized so much is we do have a city app, and we don't use it for, push notifications as much as we could and other things. So anyway, that's there too. MySpace.
Oh, you're aging yourself.
You should see the wallpaper. It's awesome.
Now, when we're talking about Facebook and Instagram, is that the city of North Plains, or are you talking like some sort of economic development commission, which?
Great question. So when I say Facebook, I strictly mean so there's a City of North Plains Facebook presence, Facebook account that pushes out just general news and information, and you've seen that online. The Instagram account does the same thing for the City of North Plains as an entire entity. Now, having said that, the North Plains Library also has its own Facebook presence. And I'm not sure if that's run technically by the Friends or not, but North Plains Library has its own updates, its own Facebook posts. So they do something themselves. I'm not aware of anything by the Planning Commission. I'm not aware of anything by, say, the Parks Board separately on social media. I think it's a great idea to explore the EDC doing some kind of specific social media to highlight employers, highlight this, that, or the other. The North Plains Event Association is technically independent of the city, but they have their own Facebook presence, and it kind of coincides with things. There's also the issue of, I would frankly like to see the EDC have a semi-regular presence in the city's newsletter and e-news. Then, economic development corner or economic development commission corner, where you may highlight a new business. The upcoming public outreach workshop on so-and-so and so is coming up, that sort of thing. Don't do that yet. I would love to see that.
As far as, say, Instagram and Facebook, is that something where we want one person to do it? Or is it like, for Instagram, for instance, people in this group can give photos that maybe they've taken, and then someone puts them on?
Great question. I think on the Facebook side of things, the city utilizes it and will continue. The city's working through the beginning of some new social media policies. But what is going to continue to happen is the city will continue to use the city Facebook page to be the primary non-newsletter, non-e-news source of information for pushing out information about meetings and happenings and projects and things like that. I think the Instagram account is probably the one where I think that's probably the one that's riper for the more creative group cooperative effort to making that, pop and work well. So I would say Instagram's probably what we'll want to first explore. I mean, there's even in the new communications plan, an agreement there, a podcast is in there. We haven't yet explored it, but that's in the scope of communications plan for the city, is a podcast. So next we'll get Andy in here and corral him about his thoughts about that, because that's his baby. We just haven't, with everything going on, he just hasn't been able to sit down and put serious thought into it. But that's there too. So that's out there and scoped. Yeah.
But it sounds like Jerry Lewis, I'd be all over that. But you know, something like the Instagram, I could definitely see grabbing a hold of that, you know, because I live here, easy to go out and take photos. I could see, you know, maybe other people in this group take a photo, send it,
Mhm.
or however we want to do it.
I went to La Loteria a few weeks ago and took a picture of a gorgeous chile relleno en mole. And it was a work of art. It was gorgeous. And I tagged it the way I thought it would, so that the Instagram account would notice it. Or if you look up North Plains, that pops up. I tagged La Loteria. Didn't show up. Apparently didn't do it right or something. But that's what I mean is folks should have the opportunity to kind of collaboratively add to that. Like, oh my gosh, look at that dish. I should go to North Plains and eat there. You know, that. So
I need to know more about Instagram. I don't know if you can have like one account and then collaboratively, like say you, maybe the three of us are on it, we could each put photos in there. I'm not sure. I feel like
I think a conversation with Corinne, I think that Instagram is very ripe for what you're thinking.
I envision like an EDC takeover. During like new business grand openings, the EDC can post throughout the morning, event, day, what have you. Just to experience what it's like to have a grand opening for a small business like that. Takeover, put that one in your back pocket, Bill. Also, I thought you were gonna say a beautiful prickly pear margarita.
I thought he was too.
No?
No comment.
No.
No comment, it speaks louder than. All right.
Support very much. They will be concerning having a call. Where we can analyze the work of the national,
I agree, that's a great, I feel like that's a perfect,
supports
physical way, because it
Being
does
in the
go out to
middle of
all,
that idea.
through the water bill, goes out to all residents. And in addition, we can kind of like dual path that with more of like an online social presence with Instagram or what have you as well.
and also the goal number one. To educate industry members in the past data collected. I know a lot of work has been done in the past 5 years, right? So it is great we have it captured here so we can review that data and see what to make of the data before, we add this stuff. So I think it's a good.
I agree, yes.
Lisa, did you have the survey results in your stuff? I think I have it. So you included it.
I did.
Okay.
Yep, so I found that one.
If anybody, we did a survey, what, 4 years ago? Before COVID, right?
Yes.
Of the businesses and stuff. So, if you guys are interested, I can send out the results of that. So you know where we started anyway.
Is there any way to measure how many people actually open their water bill and read anything? Like to say, hey, if you read this, you don't, I don't know, something, just because we're on auto pay. So when we get it, I mean, it goes out of another account, we don't look at any bill. So we see it, we're like, oh, water bill, trash. I mean, no offense, but I mean, I would have never known that it was in there until being here. So is there any measurable way, do you think?
Great question. From the city's perspective, that's a growing concern that just in the last year, because we've moved over to a different water bill payment system. And it's far easier to auto pay your bill with a card, whether it's a debit card or a credit card. It's not auto pay directly out of your checking account. We just modernized that this past year. And just in the past year, the number of people who are auto pay has skyrocketed because it's just become so much easier and more like every single other bill that they have. We don't know that people aren't reading the newsletter as much. We've just kind of suspected it for common sense reasons, not unlike the way you've described your, well, I mean, the more people on auto pay, they just might be getting in the habit of not opening the bill anymore anyway, and the newsletter's in there. We still push out the e-newsletter via email. I don't know that there's a way to, tell if people are reading. I mean, maybe we could, I don't know if you go to Trader Joe's on 185th and Tannisbourne, but if you find the monkey, you get a lollipop. There's a monkey, Moto. If your kids find Moto, who's a monkey doll or stuffed animal, he's hidden somewhere in the store. And if a kid finds,
Yeah.
that, oh no, that's right. That's right. I totally forgot about that. So you get the idea, but there's probably ways to encourage people, if we truly find out people aren't reading it as much, we can probably look into ways to encourage it, or we can just kind of, figure out better ways of using social media to get to them.
And I think we could still get a lot of information out there because everybody's on social media, and if you're not, people think they're in the Stone Age or something. So that's my thoughts on the social media.
The newsletter, do you have an idea of the PDA that is the newsletter broadcast? I haven't seen the like the people it is broadcasted, like it's sent to all residents in North Plains.
You can sign up to receive it via email on the website, and you can also just click on, there's a newsletter button somewhere up there at the top, and you can read the newsletter right on the website, and you can also read the e-newsletter, which is a little bit different than the full monthly newsletter. You can read them both directly on the website as well.
Oh, so you have to go and sign up for this.
For them to be emailed to you, yes.
I was gonna say I haven't received one, but that would explain why.
Mhm.
So it's probably an effort on not just utilizing the tools we have, but socializing the tools that are available for residents to engage in with. That's probably just as important as actually utilizing those. All great points. Good conversation.
Hey, a question, we will get to our goals as well, but what is our thought? Are we going to try to revisit these briefly every month, revisit them every 3 months? What does the committee think? To get an update.
I mean, I envision it as like every month we would at least do a check-in, even if it's somewhat informal. But I know like the first goal for this subcommittee, the time-bound target is achieve these activities within the next 1 to 3 meetings. So kind of each meeting you can check in on progress, kind of like performance to the plan that we have in place for each of them. And just dedicate maybe, 10 minutes or so for each subcommittee to update on progress. Does that seem feasible?
Yep.
Did you say a month, on monthly or?
Monthly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll block, so like goal 2 and 3 are like over the course of the 6-month time frame. So those would be much more like incremental check-ins along the way.
Plus, I think goal 1 is gonna give material for 2 and 3 that we can utilize marketing data.
Mhm.
Any other questions or additions for the subcommittee? Or if not, we'll move on to our next group.
But actually,
Yes.
Chair Lawson, one other thing, about goal number 2, develop targeted marketing materials showcasing North Plains' business advantages. One thing to consider here, but last month we joined Greater Portland Inc. as a small community member. And they are going to begin to work with us on this very thing at GPI, for GPI marketing, the city of North Plains. But we're going to need to coordinate with them, and then any marketing materials that this does, we'll probably want to dovetail with. Andy and I are thinking about at some point inviting their staff to come and meet with you all and kind of talk about how they'll market North Plains and how they'll want to work on this. I see one of them tomorrow morning, actually, so I'll begin that, but we just joined them. So,
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Right, anything else? All right, we can move to our next subcommittee then, focusing on the downtown revitalization efforts. We just looking at David.
David, do you want me? Okay. I will give David a break since he's brand new. But the three of us got to meet David and Chris and I all got to meet, set some goals. And David was a very good sport because obviously Chris and I have a lot of history on what's happened, but hopefully didn't overwhelm you, and I think we had some good input. And unfortunately, I do not have this printed out, but I am happy to send email our goals.
cool.
I will just read our goals. So by the end of September 2024, the EDC subcommittee focused on Main Street. Well, Chris said Main Street, Commercial Street, or downtown. But we'll just call it the downtown area.
Yeah.
We will, first goal, meet with the North Plains Chamber of Commerce leadership to plan and schedule an EDC presentation at one of their monthly chamber meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea would be is that we would introduce ourselves, talk about some of our goals. That would be the primary goal. The next thing we want to do probably during that is to invite the North Plains Chamber of Commerce leadership to come to one of our EDC members sometime in the next 6 months
Mm-hmm.
and talk about this long-term goal we have discussed of partnering with them and starting to do business outreach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So our goal is to invite them to come to one of our meetings in the next 6 months, have a planning session and meet with a minimum of 2 North Plains business owners in the next 6 months. So that's goal 2.
Mhm.
And our final goal, and this is also a topic I would like to bring up tonight. We would like to hold our second annual EDC volunteer project to help a downtown business on city cleanup day in May, which is Saturday, May 11th. So we we need everybody, not just our committee, but to help with some ideas on who we could reach out to, who could use some help. And then our little subcommittee will reach out to that business and arrange an event hopefully on that Saturday morning, helping them with something. So those are our goals.
Excellent. I hear 300 cubic yards of contaminated dirt need to be moved from the GOA.
That can be negotiated.
That is Glencoe.
Oh, sorry.
That's not your downtown.
So in reality, so kind of regarding downtown. I want to, this is kind of a recent development, but we've had some leadership and membership changes on the Parks Board that are resulting into kind of some sudden and very proactive, interesting things. So what I want to put it to the downtown work group is that the idea is percolating and taking shape that feasibility should be explored for converting one of the mural buildings downtown into an active use inside like futsal or something. That's certainly a parks and it's a recreation thing, but that's also a downtown vitality thing too. And not that this specific thing needs to be a goal, but I just want to, however we can work in maybe a joint meeting with them and the downtown work group or something, just so that we get you kind of lined into that would be good. I don't know the current status of it. Rowan isn't here. Andy's not here. They've been more involved. Lori, do you happen to know a ton about that?
No, I know that they're looking into it, from not just the Parks and Rec, but city is, Andy's very interested in that. He kind of said it at the same time that Parks and Rec did, so it was already percolating in his brain
Yeah, so
too,
that's very recent. So we just want to make sure that this work group gets lined up with that.
All right, so how will we get an update on who to reach out to on that? We proactively reach out to Andy?
Yeah, no, the chair of the Parks and Rec Board, Zach Gaynor,
Exactly.
he's new, but he's very active and very motivated, so I can get you guys information shared so that you can work with him, or you can always pop into their meetings or second Monday of the month at 6 o'clock here. So. And they're kind of doing the same thing you're doing with the roadmap and right now, and a little bit of restructuring of the board itself, so.
I think I actually have Zach's email, information as well too. Is he still with,
The Winterhawks,
Winterhawks?
he is
No.
not,
Okay,
he is not,
I
he's,
didn't think so.
no, he's just teaching, he teaches out at Mount Hood Community College, yeah.
You could commute with them.
Yeah, yeah,
Carpool.
but he,
Drop
yeah,
me off. That's fine. Okay, great. I just wanted to say, I really like all those are, feels like you guys putting some good thought and effort into them, and they all seem very achievable. So thank you for doing that.
And like I said, before I leave, since next month is the cleanup day,
Mhm.
we need to start reaching out to some businesses. So if anyone has any ideas right now, we'd love to hear it. Or any businesses on commercial that.
you want to explain what you did as a group last year, since we have
Yes.
some new members?
Yes, so last year we reached out to Sisters and stuff, is
Mhm.
that right? Wait, like what?
That's right, Sisters and Stuff.
The red building on commercial, they had just purchased a property that used to be the Rusty Piston. And I just coordinated with them and said, hey, we know you're new owners, what can we help do? And they gave us 2 projects on probably the hottest day in May. One, Eric and Chris, they moved gravel and created a sidewalk essentially around, or a barrier kind of around the building. And then several of us painted the interior. And it was basically waterproofing paint to help with some of the moisture in the building. So it was good, and hopefully they will be open sometime in the near future. But it was great, I think it was a good experience, it was a good activity. So it'd be great if we could think of another business who might be able to benefit from a few hours of labor from our committee on that city cleanup day.
I feel like we got a lot done in just, a couple hours, few
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
Although every time I drive by, I'm like, I feel like the, like gravel sidewalk we put in was a lot larger than it. That's a tiny one. Just not, essentially a French drain.
I think Chris's one idea was maybe to reach out to the food carts. Any other thoughts from anyone else?
That was actually the very first thing that I thought of, was to see if they needed anything that they can utilize from us and from help. Since they're new and maybe things that they got after the fact, after they moved in.
Okay, well, I'm willing to go get some food and reach out to them on the next.
Fact finding.
Yes, fact finding activity and see if they have any ideas for ways that maybe we could help. So I'll start there.
Has the city heard any just like rumblings or things from any businesses on the downtown corridor, just on updates that are in the works or anything along those lines?
I don't think so. On commercial, I can't think of anything, anybody doing anything. Last month I did have a sit down, ended up being a couple hours with Nikki Robinson and her husband, just to kind of talk about what they're doing in their property. And because they heard that the city, was looking at seeing redevelopment happen. And basically what I learned was, she's happy to be continuing to do her florist business. She's not looking to end that anytime soon. That building actually, even though it looks new, they spent a lot of money updating it. It actually used to be an old blacksmith shop historically, and there's still kind of evidence of it here and there. And there's still some concrete posts, part of the original building inside. And I was kind of like, wow, I think it was one of the buildings that was partly lost in the big fire way back when. But anyway, it might look like it was built in the 1880s. But they themselves are not looking to do anything differently. They're happy for the property to just continue to be the community garden outside. At some point, maybe something built there that might be mixed use or more commercial, that might be interesting to them. But they are not looking for any major changes to happen with their property immediately. So I mean, so they confirmed that for me. It was a good conversation. We chatted about a lot. Other than that, I would say not much new that we're aware of on commercial.
And that was May 12th.
I think 11. Mhm. Yes, so put it on your calendars, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so, Saturday.
I think that's Sunday.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. Okay, any other comments on our goal? All right, well, we will start with Pam.
And so just to recap, I'll kind of name the first group, the Glencoe Opportunity Area, the GOA group, for the sake of brevity. So the GOA group will come next meeting with a bit more information on the past data collection effort that was completed and try to kind of level set with the commission here on what we've done in the past. Does that sound like a good goal for next meeting? And then the downtown revitalization group subcommittee, excuse me, will I guess identify and propose city cleanup
Project.
project.
Small business development project.
Yeah. Anything else for next meeting then? I'm trying to remember. You listed anything that you kind of.
Other than if we may be able to arrange to go to a chamber of commerce meeting,
Okay.
but that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, I think those are both.
Okay.
Feasible and good things to kind of get the ball rolling downhill a little bit, get some momentum going. Okay, any other questions on either subcommittee? If there's any feedback on, what worked well or was tough about meeting outside of these meeting hours? If it works better, like sending out calls or just via email?
We supported the local business.
Yay.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure it's not too like burdensome on the committee members in terms of trying to work things outside of these meetings. All right, yeah.
Mr. Chair. Lisa, I think at our discussion the last time, I think Chris, you mentioned about the farmers market.
Rowan had mentioned something about potential farmers market.
Mhm.
She's still working on it.
Still working?
It's coming along. Bill probably has more information.
That's good news because someone else had talked to me about it just a couple of days ago, and they're like, we would love to see a farmer's market. And she said she had mentioned it and it went nowhere, but I don't know how long ago that was. I have no idea about that. So this is good to hear because hearing from people from the community, I know they would love something like that, including us. We would love that.
Mhm.
I'm trying to be organized. A couple of years ago after COVID. The person that owns Building Nuts.
Mhm.
He was
Yep.
trying to spearhead that,
Mhm.
so from this many contact. He had rung up the parks board, I think,
Yeah, that was before COVID
I think,
and then COVID
and
stopped.
she wanted it downtown, but she wasn't get exact location for it, so I think she gave up, but. It doesn't mean she can't look at it. Because she goes to all these different events. I see her at Astoria, not Astoria. Long Beach, and
Yeah.
different places. She travels a lot, way further now. So she would be the perfect person to start with that. Because she has all the connections.
Yeah, so Rowan usually zooms in. But I don't see that Rowan's on there tonight. So I honestly don't have the latest about it. I'll defer. But I know there's been effort in meeting with different farmers and securing interest and figuring out a day or night that doesn't compete with another bigger market nearby that same time. So anyway, all that I'll let Rowan comment on next time.
All right, and then, my subcommittee of one, is mostly related to, item B, under unfinished business update on the UGB. Bill, do you have specific updates you want to share, or just an overview of, some of the ongoings over the past couple weeks or so?
Does this officially mean we're moving to the agenda item, or just to be
Correct.
clear? Correct.
Item B,
Thank you, Chair, for clarifying that. Okay, so UGB update. Yeah, so I think the big update really is, I guess, a few things. So first off, the state ODOT let us know here last week that they're in the final stages of reviewing and approving the scope of work and contract to really truly begin the comprehensive planning of the urban growth boundary expansion areas. So that includes a bunch of public outreach, community involvement, workshops, getting people to come to meetings, reaching out to them and getting all the public and getting all the public input that we need to have over the course of the months. There'll be a project advisory committee, not terribly different from the one you were on as EDC rep. There will also be so that'll be kind of just a committee overseeing the process broadly. Then there will be a technical advisory committee that will be more specialized in terms of utilities and kind of the specialists at taking a look at kind of the more specific nitty-gritty of what do we need to do from an infrastructure standpoint and kind of the technical stuff. So that advisory group will be utilities and some industry experts and some planning experts, that sort of thing, that will kind of drill down on that stuff. All of that is supposed to kick off. Given the most recent update, that process should be beginning by May. So that should be picking up pretty quickly.
And just to clarify, my SMART goals will be coming out for that effort, once the effort kicks off.
Oh, that works.
I want anyone to think I was skipping out on my SMART.
Yeah. And actually, as a matter of fact, I don't think an email's been sent out, Counselor Smith, but we today, I believe at 3:45, got notice from Business Oregon that they're giving us a grant to do all the wetlands delineation in the urban growth boundary expansion area. So that was a component that the ODOT DLCD grant couldn't quite cover. And so Business Oregon is going to award us money to basically do thorough mapping of where environmentally sensitive areas are and aren't, and therefore where developable area is, the wetlands delineation for all the land. So that'll be grant funded by Business Oregon. And that's just as of, like I said, late this afternoon, we got the grant award, so a letter.
Will that cover all of the potential UGB area or just the smaller portion?
That it will cover it will act. I need to go through and check the fine print on it, but it with certainty would cover all lands identified for employment uses. What I'm less certain about is whether or not it specifically studies wetlands delineation for the areas that we think or know will be overwhelmingly residential. But having said that, there has been more marriage of workforce housing need to economic development at Business Oregon, and the money may be used for wetlands delineation for the whole thing. I don't know. I need to. That was kind of a question mark when we applied, and I don't have the confirmed answer to that. So I'll have to confirm that for sure. But if either way, it's at least 80% of the UGB is having its wetlands delineation done on Business Oregon's tab. So at least 80%. Okay, so that's going. I mean, beyond that, I guess I'll give an update because this gets, but it's like Lori, I've told Lori, she's heard me say this over and over. We're smack dab in the middle of Lawyerville on everything else. So it is important to note that the legislature back in March, the Senate and the House, the whole legislature passed House Bill 4026. And House Bill 4026, among other things, reaffirmed the legal notion or the legal definition or whatever you want to call it. I'm not an attorney, but reaffirmed that city urban growth boundaries are not referable to the ballot for repeal. And because urban growth boundary decisions by this legislation is reaffirmed, they are administrative decisions, not what are called legislative decisions. Legislative decisions are the kinds of things that can be, recalled or repealed on the ballot. An urban growth boundary decision by a city council is an administrative decision, which isn't. Now, we find ourselves with the whole referendum issue that the city has looking at it. So I won't get into the weeds, but some legal maneuvering over the past couple of weeks, and the deadline for printing ballots to go out to voters has passed. They're out for print, and they're going to have the referendum, the measure on them. And beyond that, what happens, because we have the legislature and the governor signing it saying this shouldn't have even been on the ballot, versus the fact that ballots are being printed with this on it. I guess the main thing is stay tuned. There's, I think the county's going to be in the hot seat about what to do, but the main thing though is that you're still going to hear the yes and no campaigns for the election on May 21st. But like I said, we're in Lawyerville, so goodness grief, we don't know what's going to end up happening. So I'll leave it at that. It's a stay tuned.
Thanks, Bill.
Mhm.
Any questions following after that? In the know for the most part of the group, but. And then the follow-on item C, update on the semiconductor city designation as well.
Yes. Okay. That's a fun one. So the legislature also just thought North Plains needed help. So the legislature with Senate Bill 1526 also passed. The legislature passed it, sent it on to the governor, and the governor signed that just this past week. And in that Senate SB 1526 has mostly just kind of reestablishes some economic development incentives and programs. But in that legislation, there is a North Plains specific change. And I can't remember if did I talk about this at the last meeting much? Okay.
It was a teaser.
It was. Okay, sorry. I don't want to get into the weeds on something that I'd already talked about and I couldn't remember because just 2 weeks ago, 1 week felt like a year. So I'm sorry anyway. But the bottom line is that the legislature made the city of North Plains the state's only citywide semiconductor zone or enterprise zone. So now the entire city is an enterprise zone basically but only specifically for semiconductor or directly related semiconductor firms related directly. An enterprise zone is a geographic area within a city typically, but North Plains is an entire city. So we're extremely unusual in statute. But an enterprise zone is a geographic area where certain firms, if they qualify, if they make qualifying investment in valuable enough equipment or structures over a certain amount, they can apply for and get property tax exemptions on that equipment for a 3-year and sometimes 5-year period. Most cities in Oregon and some counties in Oregon have enterprise zones, and they get applied to pretty much most businesses as long as they put in valuable equipment or structure. North Plains is a semiconductor city zone that's unique to us. The firms under the word semiconductor have to either be R&D, manufacturing, or some kind of directly related supply chain company. Okay. And the city looks to pretty narrowly implement this. I mean, the legislature doesn't tell us what supply chain is and what supply chain isn't. R&D and manufacturing are pretty straightforward, but what supply chain is or isn't is not defined in statute. The city gets to work through those things. So anyway, that is new as well. And the state is working on rulemaking for it because the ink is barely dry on this. And we will be working with the state on how this gets implemented. So there's that. Any questions?
You see this having an impact, I guess, timeline wise? Is it more of like a 5-year horizon in terms of like when we would see any type of impact from it?
It's already having an impact.
Very ominous.
Yes.
Yes, we're being looked at already.
Okay.
So it won't, it technically won't take effect, and potential qualifying property tax exemption, 3 to 5 year exemption won't begin to occur until after July 1, 2025. Okay, so we have time here to figure out what an application looks like and what the rules look like for the city and how the city works with the county on this and what specific type of industries or businesses we will and we won't let get an exemption for being here. But having said that, it's already having an impact on who's looking at the city.
Is it gonna be similar to the food service grant application process where they come through here and we can ask them questions?
Yeah.
It's my opinion that I'd be okay with that. And I have an update on that program too, if there's time or you want. So Melly's should be opening any day. They have been waiting for the county to finish inspecting a soda machine. I kid you not. I reached out to Dave Vandehay and I said, Dave, you and your new tenant are being nice. I'm perfectly happy to call the county and be mostly nice, but I'm happy to go to call and advocate why we have this grant winning business, local resident, diversifying our business community. We're looking forward to them being here, and we're waiting for a soda machine to be inspected by the county building department. He didn't want me to make that call, but I was ready. And I'm still ready to do it. But they're waiting around for a soda machine to be inspected. I kid you not. Dave did confirm with me that we will have an application for a grant from the new building, from a company that primarily will be doing baked goods, sandwiches, and coffee. I haven't seen an application yet, and I haven't seen the information from Melly's to reimburse them yet. So I'm hoping that comes soon. But anyway, we should have a new application before long, and you, of course, you all are involved in that process.
Yeah, excellent. Encouraging. Any indication on other tenants in the new building? If it would be.
Yes, Lori. Lori has been breaking this news. So
Only because I took the call. Yeah, I took the call. And actually, I'm happier about the other tenant that you know about. There's going to be a nail salon going in.
mhm.
But I took a call from the owners of Hobson Fitness, and she was asking about a business license, and I said, well, you have one. And she said, no, we're starting a new business in the new Vandehay building. And I said, can I ask what it is? And she said, it's a family entertainment center. And I said, well, that's intriguing. What does that include?
Mhm.
Miniature golf and axe throwing. Yes. So that's very early stages. They haven't even come to talk to our planner about the zoning and everything for, very early, but she's very excited. So I'm very
The
excited.
insurance required.
Yeah.
Against public access.
But a signed lease,
Pardon me?
signed lease.
It didn't sound like it quite yet, but she was getting ready to, and she wasn't sure if she needed our city business license before she went up to the state, and I said, no, ours isn't that important. So, yeah, so exciting.
Thank you for the update.
There's a variety coming in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, let's add it all up. We have frozen yogurt. We have a play area for smaller kids. We have massage and acupuncture. We have a sports bar and grill. We have axe throwing, mini golf, coffee and bakery, and
Nails.
nails.
How could you forget the nails?
Sorry, because I don't get a pedicure too often.
I'll go with you.
Okay. But anyway, I mean, that's quite a variety of things, honestly. And I can tell you right now, if we had Dave Vanahay sitting here and you asked him questions, he would tell you that his lenders, the grant program made a gigantic difference because you saw how much faster the second building happened. The first building took forever to just get tenants in the door, helping them out. And so the grant program really did have a halo effect on the other building. I mean, I'm going to assert that. I think defensively, so.
If you were essentially laid out the variety of tenants that will exist there in the near future, back when you were working with Dave and kind of getting the grant program, how would you feel about the variety, the diversity? Is that pretty ideal in your eyes?
Yeah, I think it's been great. I mean, I think I didn't hear this goal, but I don't think anybody on the business development side of thing, the business development work group would oppose, but Dave had, well, the big thing though, I guess the big thing is I'm kind of surprised by how many local residents are the business owners in the building. So that's been an extra layer of success that I've been really surprised by and pleased with, frankly. I love that. I mean, just about all of them are local residents who are own businesses in the building. The other thing though, I think that I would like somebody to explore or maybe work with somebody on exploring is he had a series of residents of South Asian Indian heritage who wanted to open like an Indian bakery or an Indian cafe or something. And I'd like to somehow circle back to those folks and ask them, was it lack of familiarity with business rules or blending here, or like what held you back? Because I would have loved to have, when somebody said, oh, there might be an Indian style bakery in there. Wow, what is that? I mean, that would have been interesting. Not that the other ones aren't, but I can't think of any other place where there's an Indian bakery, frankly. And I've stopped at my share of strip malls in different places. So, I mean, Amy, any thoughts about that or?
On our stage,
Mhm.
he had told us that there was both ends. He wanted an end cap, like he said, we're in talks with people over there. But what he had actually told me, if I recall correctly, was that it was a convenience store
Oh,
that would have some hot food back in a corner.
gotcha.
So not necessarily a bakery and
Okay.
just food, but it was more of a convenience store.
Mhm.
And I recall that because I remember thinking, well, there's Chevron right there. There's,
Mhm.
the one across the street,
Mhm.
there's the little one across the way with that AMPM.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking in my head of another convenience store type thing.
Yeah.
But they did have the hot food that they were going to offer in a corner of that. I think what fell out with that was the build out cost.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that was the fallout with it.
Mhm.
I heard that as well. The equipment that they would need to put in to their kitchen area was cost prohibitive for them.
That was before the program.
Yeah,
No,
that-
was it before you?
it was.
Okay.
Well, they would have, if equipment for cooking something was cost inhibitive, that would have qualified for the program. So I think that was before, actually, that particular business.
Well, into all of our stuff when Dave brought to us the grant program.
David, you're new to the commission, so I don't know if you're familiar with our program, but we offer up to $50,000 grants to businesses who open and operate new dining options in the city of North Plains. So if a business primarily produces food for takeout's okay, but dine in, kind of like a new restaurant, new dining option, they can qualify for up to $50,000 grant, a $50,000 grant up to help pay for extraordinary costs of putting in tenant improvements for food service and related things. Because, you know, if you open up when you open up a kitchen, you've got all the expensive equipment and the hood and then and then everything related, walk-in fridge and other things. And so those are way more expensive than if you're some different type of business. And the city would really like to see more dining options in town so that you don't always have to be driving to Hillsborough or wherever else. And so a business can open and potentially open and operate and serve food with dine-in, and they can potentially qualify for up to $50,000 grant to help pay for those costs.
And the first recipient of the first grant,
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I happened to talk to two people, residents here, and I think they were complaining about like the cost of renting a space for like some of the stores in
Oh, really?
the shop, right?
Probably a fraction of
I see.
what we're paying.
I see.
So that actually surprises me a little bit.
I said these are people who, would like to go into the food business.
Mhm.
So I can pass this kind.
Yeah.
Thanks, David. And thanks, Bill,
Mhm.
for kind of reiterating that. All right, I know we're 15 minutes over the hour. Any questions or go backs for UGB or semiconductor business before we touch on a couple more things and round up?
When are we going to be getting more like printed material, or is there actually something that kind of dumbs it down that we can bring to, like, I could have on hand? Because I know that there's people surrounding me that I believe might have a lot of misinformation, so I would love to not have to say any much. I really don't, I don't know a ton about it, so I'm not gonna misspeak, but I would love to be able to be like, here's some information.
And that's about the urban growth boundary, you mean specifically? That's a great comment, because there are a lot of purveyors of false information about the urban growth boundary expansion, and that's unfortunate. Let us get back to you, maybe Corinne, even, because we've tried to have a one-stop shop website that has an FAQ and everything else. Given, I think the issue right now for the city is that we're doing our best as a city entity. I mean, city council can say and do whatever they want. You all can say and do whatever you want because you're resident volunteers. City staff and the city as an entity has to be and is very careful about doing anything that could even be remotely viewed as taking a position. So putting out printed materials is something we're kind of not being super proactive about, because it's tough to do it without making it look like we're pushing residents to vote or think a certain way. But we do kind of have just an objective facts website, and maybe we don't do a good job of pointing people to it, and maybe we can do a better job or work with you on where it is and that sort of thing. But it's just kind of a tricky thing because the issue is on the ballot, even though now the legislature said it shouldn't be. It is, and so we just, it's a tricky issue.
So even just printing out the FAQ.
Or a QR code, have a QR code that sends them to the website.
Yeah, we'd have to be careful how we do that, but there might be a way to do it. Let us think about that. Yeah, we just don't want to do the wrong thing because it's such a weird time. It's such a weird time.
So there's information out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah,
and I'm not going to spread something that's not true. I think run far, run fast from that kind of stuff. So I was thinking, I said, well, there might be something printed that kind of very generally goes over what it is, what it's about, to try and clear
Yeah.
the air. And
Yeah.
so if you have that, I would love to see it and read it. So that's why I asked.
So thank you. And I appreciate you spending the time and conversation to try to, have a good conversation with that person. If people have questions, they can always contact the city. They can contact me. I'm happy to, point them here. Here's the website with all the, here's all the different meetings we've had. Here's the recordings of those meetings if you want to listen, and here's this and that. Just if you want to kind of soak it all up but I will answer, Andy will answer resident questions about things. I'm happy to, if you Google North Plains UGB and they go to the city website, it should take them to that page. I mean, it really should be. The only thing I can think that might be getting in the way is we just switched over to a new website company and format. And I know that some of our old pages, when you Google something, it takes you to the old page, but the link to the new page doesn't work perfectly. So I would just caveat my advice that if they Google anything, City of North Plains UGB or something, it should take them where they want to go. If they go to the city website and there's a, I think, does it still say at the top UGB facts or anything
Yeah,
like that? I think if you just go to
there's-
northplains.org, soon to be northplains.gov, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think if you go to the first page of the web page at the top, there's a big banner that says get the UGB facts, and that will take them to the page I'm talking about. But we have people walk in asking questions. How do I support? I don't like this. I mean, we get it all. I mean, so we're happy to answer questions,
For the sake of time, we'll jump into our ex officio Counselor Smith. Thank you for being here this evening.
Sure.
Any kind of departing words of wisdom for us or updates from City Council?
Well, next Thursday, Noodles and Noodles, used to be called a volunteer dinner. But it got to be where people got to be volunteers to go. So now it's open to everybody. I'm not sure exactly the time of it, but it should be on the Facebook page, I hope.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's in the newsletter. It's in the e-news. It's on the Facebook page.
So we are now serving vegetarian spaghetti
Nice.
because we have a lot of vegetarians nowadays. Number two, we keep talking about the cleanup day. My lovely wife is the volunteer coordinator. And we'll make sure she sends a notice to you.
Only the easy projects. Something in the shade.
I already got that one.
Oh.
Checking cards as a car. I can't pick up like I used to. And it goes a lot faster nowadays than where we have it at compared to Jesse Mays where it was a mess. Let's see, and then on the 14th, the city council every 2 years has a retreat. Lori gets to go to that, I'm pretty sure,
I do.
Nice.
and Bill, so some of the department heads, and we get together and you put down what we want to accomplish, where we're going.
Things that we have accomplished.
Setting goals. So we spend our volunteer day, well, some of us volunteer. But anyway, so it's about 7.5, 8 hours that we get together.
Where is that located? Do you go outside and?
Well, right now, it could be Jesse Mays, it could be somewhere else. I
Okay.
think Andy's looking for it now. So,
8 hours is a long time in this room.
well, sometimes we have a good time.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Mostly we all get, as far as I know, we always get along together.
So, yeah.
That's it. I think it's great what you guys are doing, amount of effort, time you
put into this. It's kind of difficult to get people to get into committees and stuff, but, there's a lot of opportunities coming up. As you can see, we're growing. Because that's all. Thank you, I can say thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here this evening. We appreciate it.
I hope everybody shows up when you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Next officials.
Yeah. Okay.
I always try to.
Yeah, you're always here reaching out when that is.
Yeah.
And then last, kind of on that same topic, I know we discussed a quarterly report to city council. Because we just had our bylaws officially approved, I'm assuming we'll kind of glaze over the first quarter and maybe focus on Q2 of this year for our first report out. So we can also take a look at that. Probably May and June timeframe and compile what we've been working on, but to echo Councilor Smith too, I just really appreciate all the work everyone did. I kind of pointed my compliment at least to the group earlier, but both groups. I really appreciate the collaboration and working together. I know it's not easy, especially being volunteers and taking time away from family or hobbies or just anything not like work adjacent. It's just very much appreciated. Like I appreciate it not only as a member of this commission, but just as a member of the community that people care enough to give their time to focus and kind of move the needle, even if it's just a small amount each month and meeting. But so I appreciate it. So thank you very much. And Bill and Lori, thank you too for putting up with us and helping guide us.
What are you resigning?
Brings me to my last time. You're stuck with, Councilor Sheldon said, we should probably get rid of the 2-term limit as chair, so. I'm just kidding, I'm done that. It's time for someone else to take his first chair after this year. We've still got a few months to go. Okay, any questions, other topics we want to hit on here before we adjourn?
And, Mr. Chairman, because you mentioned the buying. Can we have that clause, clarify the article 3 section 3? Or originally the wording was, I think no member shall serve 2 consecutive days. Right. But my understanding is that you should know more than 2 consecutive days.
Yeah,
So we can capture it already.
I believe it states no more than 2 consecutive terms.
For the chair.
For the chair.
Just for the chair position.
Yeah, but the document I have, it says, no member shall serve 2 consecutive days. It should be no more. than-
Oh, I see,
For the chair.
I see.
We can, let me look into that and
Yeah, it's
clarify it.
Gotcha.
Thank you. I'll double check that.
Thanks, David.
And that means that the chair can come back after your absence.
Oh, yes.
That's,
Thank you, Tim.
that's correct, actually, just as a, just so, yes. After 2 terms, a person is not permanently banned from chairpersonship. They can step down for a year, they can step down for 2.
That's on how it goes.
Yeah, but no more than 2 consecutive was at least the intent, but we need to just double check that.
Good point, thanks, David. Thanks, Bill. All right, I think we're all set. Anything else before we adjourn? The gavel. Okay, meeting adjourned 7:28 PM. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Mhm.
Or, quick question.